Hey guys, it's Odessa. I'm here at Aquaba Academy. In today's video, I have 4 tips for you to teach K-2 students how to write sentences. The tips that I'm going to share today may be more beneficial for children in kindergarten because it is their first time really having experience with writing sentences, but you can definitely apply these strategies or these tips to your first and second graders if they are still lacking some of those foundational skills. Before we dive into today's 4 tips, let's do a little housekeeping around here. If you're new here, please be sure to hit that subscribe button, that notification bell so you're notified anytime I share new videos here. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. For my returning subscribers, thank you so much for coming back to check in with my new content. Now that it's out of the way, let's dive into our 4 tips for writing sentences for K-2 learners. As a kindergarten teacher, I find that it is really hard to get my students to write sentences at the beginning of the year. And that's understandable. As I said, this is a new concept for them. They do not have any previous experience with writing sentences. While they may speak in sentences, just the task of I have to actually take my thoughts and put it onto paper, it's a little different from drawing a picture. So when I do teach them this, I want to explicitly model everything in K-2. You are always going to hear me say explicit modeling, explicit modeling. Everything has to be explicitly taught. I think I said explicit quite a few times. That's how serious it is. We can't expect students to know how to complete a task if we don't explicitly show them how it is done. So one of my strategies for my students or tips is to have them say their sentence aloud as once they think of it. So let's go with my shirt. I can say we're talking about my shirt. I can say my shirt is blue. Okay? Step number 2 or tip number 2, now I need them to count how many words are in the sentence. That's really important because that will prep them for the next step. So now that I know my shirt is blue, I'm going to say it again. This time I'm going to count how many words are in that sentence. My shirt is blue. So after doing that, ask them to say it with you. Let's count together. My shirt is blue. How many words are in that sentence? You follow up by asking them that. So that way they're making that connection that the words that I just said, I counted 4 of them. Step number 3 or tip number 3, now I want to go ahead and write the words that I just said. So remind me again, class, what are the words in my sentence? The first word in my sentence is my. The second word in my sentence is shirt. The third word, and then so on. And then I'll do that. And I'm just going to keep saying that sentence over so that way it really sticks for them. So now that I have established my shirt is blue and there are 4 words in my sentence, now we're going to move on to the 3rd step to write the words of that sentence. So I'll show you on this board what that looks like as I model it to my students. And that's when I'm going to ask them to remind me again. So that way they can just keep saying that sentence so they don't forget it. So the first word in my sentence is my. And I know, and now I'm explicitly saying these things so that way they can get it. So I know when I start a sentence, I'm always going to start my sentence with a capital letter. So I'm going to go ahead and start on the left side of my paper. This, I have to explicitly say these things. Otherwise, they're going to start in the middle, the far right. So just continuing to explicitly say things that I want them to do, what I want to see in their writing. So I'm going to start my sentence at the far left, and that first word is going to have a capital letter. And then I have my capital letter, so my. Okay, what's the second word in my sentence? Now because I've said the sentence so many times, they're going to be able to tell me. I also want to explicitly model, okay, boys and girls, I have my, I need to include a finger space. Let me adjust this so that way you can clearly see how I'm going to do it. Okay, so now that I've adjusted that, so I will have my first word, and now I'm going to go ahead, as I said, and explicitly model to them to show, okay, I want to include a finger space here. So I'm going to put one finger here, or maybe two, my shirt, and then I'll go ahead and write shirt. If it's the beginning of the school year, at this point, my students do not know that it's a digraph sound, but where we are at the time that I'm filming this, it is the mid-year point, so they have been introduced to digraphs. So I will say shirt. What sound are we hearing? What letters go with that sound? And they'll be able to tell me shirt. And you know, you just write what you hear because you want to continue letting them know. Write the letters to the sounds that you hear. Sometimes it may come out the correct way, and sometimes it's just going to be phonetic spelling, and that is okay. My shirt. Okay, now I'm going to do my next word. That means I need to do another finger space. Is. And what's the last word in my sentence? My shirt is blue. That's right. I put a finger space and then I write that last word. Okay, so now my shirt is blue. Oh my, I almost forgot my ending punctuation. I'm going to go ahead and put a period there to wrap this up. So that has to be explicitly taught as well. And then the last part, which is tip number 4, you want them to go back and read that sentence again. My shirt is blue. And that's pretty much what I do with my kindergartners to teach them how to write a sentence. So those are the 4 steps that I would show my kindergartners how to write a sentence. And as I said at the beginning of this video, those steps or strategies can be applied to your 1st and 2nd graders if you find that they are still struggling with writing sentences. Another strategy that can be implemented, I don't particularly care for it much, but nonetheless it is a strategy, and it is a case by case because it does work for some students. With this strategy or tip, you can have them draw a line for each of the words in the sentence. So since we've established that this sentence has 4 words, I will make 4 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then he or she will go ahead and write each word on each line. The only reason why I don't particularly care so much for the strategy, while it can be applied to some, is because at the beginning of the year, more so for kindergarten, they don't have a lot of spatial awareness. And excuse me, with the audio in the background, I am filming this in my classroom, so they are doing a little transition in between, so please bear with me. Nonetheless, because kindergartners at the beginning of the year do not have a good sense of spatial awareness, they are not sure how wide each line should be. So for example, they don't understand that because the word my only has 2 letters, that you can just make the line short. The word shirt has 5 letters. They don't understand that, you know what, I can't do this line like that. I need to make it a little wider. And for that reason, I wouldn't particularly do this with kindergartners at the beginning of the year. Maybe mid-year to the ending of the year, once they have started to establish certain strategies, and you see that they just need a little bit more support. But as an introduction, I would not do this. But it is a strategy nonetheless that can be applied to some students, maybe for your 1st and 2nd graders who you find are still lacking some of the foundational skills, and that's it. So just a quick recap for today's video, the 4 strategies for teaching kindergarten through 2nd graders how to write sentences. First, we're going to say the sentence aloud. The 2nd step is to count the number of words in your sentence. The 3rd is to write it, and the last is to go ahead and read that sentence again. I hope this was helpful for you. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it down below, and don't forget to hit that notification bell, subscribe, and like. And I'll see you in the next learning video. Bye.